my mom's Lucy. Oh, I'm special. She said I was the bestest boy. We went to what was it called? Mother Boy 2020. Yeah. Wow. Chuck Wagner. Oh, why do the girls like him? Wow. Hello and welcome to Onesies, the podcast of one season wonders and blunders, where this season we're talking about Automan and Desi Arnaz Jr. a lot today. My name's Andrew.
My name is Emily.
And this is, we're talking about the third episode of Automan, season one, or season only, season seul, as it were. This episode is called The Great Pretender. And wow, I just have 32 items, so why don't you give us three?
I don't have that many. I think I literally just have three. I woke up pretty tired today. So federal protection is my first one. Microscope solving crime is my second, and boring wedding is my third.
Okay, so how many of mine are Wally's a prick?
A lot. I'm sure a lot.
Well, okay, so most importantly is Michael Pataki uncredited. So we will talk about that. They're living the way we do. Vaguely homoerotic subtext to the dialogue again. And then, here, we'll just do, no, that's your wedding one is she's 36, he's 55. So instead... And also, I like to see a grown man cry is also
that was funny.
Some of the subtext.
That was funny.
Let's see. What'll be my last one? Oh, okay, fine. We'll just do where's the little sex pest? So,
Okay,
my first note was this double intro is getting tired as fuck.
Yes. I was going to say the same thing. I thought, okay, the TV movie... Right. It makes sense. They got to give some background to this weird plot. Then the second time it's like, okay, maybe people didn't watch the TV movie and now it's airing in a normal time slot, normal length. But this is the third episode and they're doing it still. There's still time for them to give it up, but I don't think it's going anywhere. It is so tiresome.
It is. Oh, especially because it establishes whiny Wally.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it establishes, Automan, you're so special.
I think it's supposed to be like him doing comedy, but it's, the whole I've created a monster, huh?
Winkety wink, but he doesn't do a winkety wink.
No.
Was Desi funny without Lucy? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't think he was. I think that's why he had William Farley around or whatever that guy's name is. Anyway, so after the 45-minute prologue, there is
3.5 minutes. I looked at it today because I was like, this is ridiculous.
Is that both of them or just the... Okay.
That's both of them.
Okay. But the first one's only probably 45 seconds. So it's...
As it should be.
Right.
As it should be.
Then we get okay. But it's a truck hijacking.
Yeah.
So
this is my first point. So it opens with a truck and two guys talking about basketball in the truck, and they see somebody who's broken down on the road and they stop to help them and they get hijacked. Well, what we learn is that they're carrying a ton or 2 tons of paper that the Federal Reserve uses to make money, to print money. Why was there no federal protection? If they're federal contractors, why was there no protection? And why was there a no pulling over to help people on the side of the road rule?
1983, Ronald Reagan, free enterprise.
So this hijacking is part of free enterprise?
Sure. I mean, the villains donated to Reagan. So obviously. I also thought it was funny because I thought the money being the important part of counterfeiting seemed to have entered into the pop culture vernacular, I thought later than this, but this is pretty early for it to be all about the money you printed on, and that's what you actually need.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I'm trying to think. I think at least 2 of the police academy. I don't know. I haven't seen them in recently enough to remember. But I think at least definitely Beverly Hills Cop 3 is about fake money, but 2 might be as well. Like, it was a very standard thing in action. It was a very standard action movie trope for a while. And then, of course, To Live and Die in LA was all about counterfeiting. And that was a couple years after this. But like, there seemed to be a big shift to it being about the money, the paper it was printed on. And I feel like this was early. It then becomes about the ink more recently that they use, I think. I can't. Those aren't the important parts of the plots of whatever the hell that was in. But then there's the police station scene that is just, it's like walking over rocks without shoes on. The only funny part is when Wally's like, I can just use electronic imaging enhancement. And I was like, that didn't really exist in 1983, but we all thought it did.
It's fake science. I have watched enough Doctor Who that I can appreciate a little fake science dribbled in there.
But then we get the first Wally's a shit scene where he goes and catches Automan watching gangster movies.
If this is going to continue throughout the series, this catching Automan watching movies to then use as his personality going into whatever caper they're going to go bust up, I'm down with that. Like, like make a chick flick one, make a romance one. Like, let's do it. Like, let's do this. I desperately want this to continue to happen. Like, do some fucking Shaw Brothers kung fu movie and have him doing kung fu. Like, I am down with this if it's going to continue. I don't think it will, but it's a shame that they did this back to back if they're not going to continue it.
Yeah,
because they did it with the James Bond movies last time, or no, the Staying Alive. Sorry,
Staying Alive. So yeah, they need to get some numbers off of an engine block. Blah, blah, blah. And then this is where also Wally talks about how he wants to be out there helping on the streets because he's a real cop. Okay. Then we get to the Clue Gallagher subplot, which is fucking weird.
It's weird.
Okay. So there will probably be spoilers in this, and we might get to the wedding a little early, but we will talk about it ad nauseum. We will save some of the surprises from the wedding for later. But here's the villain of this episode. He's played by Clue Gallagher, who is a famous character actor who directed a great short called something Where the Boys Play or something. It's great. 1970-ish. It was during the 5 years Universal produced shorts. It's awesome. Highly recommended, whatever the hell it's called. Okay, so Clue is a counterfeiter who is getting married to a congressman's daughter.
An ex-congressman's daughter.
Ex-congressman's daughter? Okay.
Yes.
So that's a little bit better. She does not know he is a criminal. She will visit the episode occasionally and talk to him about how he is a criminal and is he really a criminal? And is he in trouble and can she help him?
And they are merely days away from their wedding.
Yes.
And she doesn't know this.
Right. And a lot of the money, he no longer has the actual money to pay for the wedding. So he is a criminal writing bad checks for his wedding into this political family. Now, Clue is 55, Clue is 55. His fiance is 36. Her father is 62. So yes, it is one of those, you're a spinster, so you need to marry your dad's friend when you're in your 30s bit.
I don't think that it's a dad's friend, though. I mean,
it's not. But
okay.
Same,
got it.
Your dad, same age as your dad, basically. Yeah. You're somebody from your dad's club. Okay, so through this plot, we will discover that he is bad at his job. Everybody hates him. He should be, he's not exactly sympathetic. He's like a sniveling something, but he's played by a Western hard man. Yeah. Right? Like, he's a tough guy, but he's not. but he sucks.
Yeah, but everybody hates him. Yeah.
Everybody hates him. Like, he fights about what roses he wants for his wedding. It's really, really weird. And I felt bad for Clu Gallagher. I felt worse for his fiance.
And the relationship is weird because, like, I get the importance of marrying into this political family. The guy could still, the father-in-law could still have influence, but they never discuss it.
Nope.
So it almost seems like he actually loves this woman.
Yes.
But I find that difficult to believe. Because he's a bad guy, I just expect ulterior motives, but they don't even talk about it.
No.
I thought that was weird.
It's very weird. The fiance is played by Andrea Howard, who, when I was looking her up to see how old she was, I discovered she plays Woman in Strip Club in Summer School. And I think I remember her, actually, because one of the subplots is one of the summer school students, the dude, dances. And so when Mark Harmon goes to catch him, don't make faces at me. Summer School is a good movie. When Mark Harmon goes to catch him, she's one of the women who complains that he's like ruining the show by trying to take his underage student off the stage. Anyway, something about the roses. We introduced the wedding thing. Clu's shitty to his subordinate. That's the other thing is Clu's a shitty boss and nobody likes him, so everybody's going to go to the competition. It's just
like I mean, Automan is offering them, well, whatever. We'll get to that.
Well, okay, yes, we'll get to what, yeah.
he can offer them a lot more because it's all fake. It's like Bitcoin. It's all fake.
We never established that they ever find out it's fucking fake.
Yeah.
But basically, they've got the paper. Presses are going to start rolling tonight. Everything's okay. My next note, is this the scene where Automan shows up and Roxanne is there, or something else? Because my note is more about Wally being a prick, because this is the first scene where Wally's a super prick. And then... So,
I don't know if this is the scene...
No, she's not there. I'm sorry.
She's not there. I don't think she is.
Okay. But this is where Automan comes up with his undercover thing. And his name is Mr. Otto, not A-U-T-O, O-T-T-O.
Yeah.
And he is a gangster. And when he zooms on his fedora and suit, I was like, Emily is having feelings right now?
No. So first, it's just the tuxedo.
Okay.
Is later where he changes into that ridiculous outfit where he looks like a member of the Hives. That's ridiculous, but I love it. The all black suit with the white tie just kind of folded over with the fedora. Yeah. Oh my God, he looks so dumb. But the tuxedo, he looks fantastic. And, Wally is starting to realize he's losing control because this computer that he programmed to be perfect and a perfect crime fighting machine is doing just that. Yeah,
and he's got good ideas and he's smart, and Wally doesn't like that.
No.
Like, oh, you need to listen to me, Automan. I know things. And it's like, you don't. That's what the show's about. Like, okay. Now they go to their first location where there's some cover music, old time rock and roll. I was very surprised to see that. But then I was like, who's that guest star? Because I thought I'd at least paid attention a little bit during the opening titles. It's Michael Pataki, who was in a Halloween movie, I think Halloween 4. He's the guy who thinks that Donald Pleasance is a dumbass. He's the police captain from the Spider-Man TV show of the 70s that we have never discussed doing, but in some ways maybe we should. And he guest starred, I think, on a WKRP, but he's a guest star guy and like a, D-tier character actor, basically. But he's in this a lot for this scene. There's a whole pool scene. That was the other thing I could have done as one of my points is the montages. Yes. They reuse 2 montages to great effect in this. But they make a pool bet, and Automan can shoot as well as Paul Newman in The Hustler. And so they have a pool sequence where at the end he had the Michael Pataki pool hall tough has to go get them someone like a boss to talk to.
And so they cancel their bet, and then he loses his shot, just like Paul Newman in The Hustler.
Yes. So then there's it's a car thing, right? They're selling hot cars.
So they're stealing cars and reselling them or breaking them down for parts. And the deal is that he's trying to steal this guy that he's talking to away from the main bad guy, whose name escapes me, but
Rudy Brook, I believe is his name. Is first Brock. Rudy yes. Brock.
So he's trying to steal all Brock's business, because Brock is like the main guy doing all of this mob stuff. So they've investigated all of these different pies that Brock has his fingers in. And this first one, they're going to try to bust him all up and steal his business. So this first one is this guy, Rudy gets him cars, and they resell them or they break them down for parts. And Automan's like, I can get you whatever car you want in 10 minutes. And he asks for some like 1930s, I don't even know, some German car. And he's like, okay, we're going to go make a call. And then they just walk out into the alley and it's there. Like,
because Cursor made it.
Well, no, Cursor made it, but the guy isn't even like, he follows them out, and they don't make a call, and the car is just there.
This is a Glenn A. Larson television program. But I think this is where Wally complains that Cursor has a phone now or something. Like, we're still getting Wally being pissy at things. But so they get the car. And then the next thing is when they're driving to an underground casino, I have a note that Wally says, "You don't know everything, Automan," or something like that. Because, that Automan.
But then Automan is like,
smart.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. And that's the scene, the snapshot of the picture I sent you, which I want you to put somewhere on my onesie, maybe, for this episode of, they're making the ridiculous turns, and it's Desi Arnaz trying to be like funny, but maybe for 8-year-olds. And he's like jerking himself around the car. And, well, I love it. I loved it.
Even for 8-year-olds, the point of this show is Wally's an ass, be like Automan.
Yeah,
right? Like,
I guess.
And if you don't happen to be a 6'5" hunk of an Aryan man, I guess you're shit out of luck, kid. Okay. They go to the casino, and Automan wins at the casino to get the attention of the people. And that's where, once they get, that's the other montage sequence. There's some very nice, like, 15 to 45 seconds of just, casino close-ups.
And it's established a little bit later that the wheel is rigged, but Cursor, you see kind of go up into the wheel. He rigs it for Automan. So they know that he's doing something. The people in charge of this casino, they know he's doing something. They don't know what it is, but he's cleaning them out, and they ask him to leave.
And that's where Automan, because this is a show for 8 to 13-year-olds, they can't be too explicit about what criminals do.
Right.
So Automan says something about, we're the best at making our living the way we do. And just the way they say it, you're like, is it like a gay porn thing? Like, what is going on here? This just seems uncomfortable. But they take a cab. They force the casino guys to get them a cab. Only then it turns out that the cabbie's going to blow them up. So that's when they have no time and they have to merge,
that was so silly. Yeah.
It did lead to a nice effect shot, actually, a surprisingly good effect shot for Automan, because we have not seen him in his auto suit.
We did. He came in his auto suit, but
it's not for sustained periods like it was in the pilot.
Right.
So they're putting him in outfits so they don't have to do the special effects on the suit, but they do
just a little, like, they've got a little glowy thing under his collar, so it kind of looks like he's covering something up, but then he's got like a bushel of chest hair coming out the front.
Thank goodness. So so there's a good effect shot on the tattered suit. And then we cut to the introduction of the fiance with Clu Gallagher, who gives a shit. But then we get to the first Roxanne sucks again scene where she knows who Automan is,
Yes.
which we have never established the degree to which she knows all this shit, right?
Right.
But she knows who Automan is. She knows that Wally pretends he's a real person, and she like is going to tattle on them.
So this is my second point. She says something like, when will you learn you can't solve crimes with a hologram? And Wally's response is, 50 years ago, they would have said that about the microscope. I think that's bad writing. While you can use a microscope to solve crimes, I think he's meaning like technology has advanced to the point where things are, I thought that was a really weird, badly written thing.
I totally zoned on that.
Did you?
I thought there was a scene where they actually use a microscope.
No. He's like, 50 years ago, they would have said that about the microscope. And it's like, what?
But this is the point in the episode where he's more of a whiny shit than she's going to be. Because Roxanne will actually not be this bad ever again in the episode. Whereas Wally will continue his descent into whininess.
Yeah.
Or just, of course, Clu Gulliger is very whiny too. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's going to give them 48 hours to solve the crime. The other thing is he solved 2 episodes worth of crimes with his hologram.
And one that she explicitly knew about.
So
I don't know why she's being such a weirdo. But I think
it's a poorly written show.
Yeah, for a poorly written character. Yeah.
Yes, and women aren't people. Stop it. Stop it with that talk.
Yes, sir.
That's right. God.
You suck.
That was just us doing a sketch on the Automan writers' room. What are you talking about? Okay.
Yeah, yes, sir. Whatever you say, sir.
That's just
Can I get you a coffee? It's
Glenn A. Larson's life. Because we don't even need to get into the supporting the guest star woman is either villainous or too old to be sexually attractive to.
Who's the villainess in this?
Not this one, but last episode was Mary Cosby, and in the first one, we're like, oh, the glamorous Interpol agent's too old for anybody to like, but the geriatric, sure, all right.
But she gives Wally just a little bit of attention because he's a 13-year-old boy. You could rub him up against a tree and he'd get excited.
He's gotten so sexless in this. Like, if this continues, he's going to be like a full-on incel by episode 9. Remember
in the pilot, he was like on a date with Heather McNair.
We haven't seen his pictures of her around his apartment since he got Automan. Yeah. I mean, okay, like there is not a way to read this as that Wally makes Automan do things and then resents him for it. Like, just saying. Okay, because Automan can look like anybody. Just saying. Just at Cursor. It's actually Cursor. Okay, so whiny Clu Gulliger scene where his boss gives him shit about not being good at his job. Then there's something about Wally saying Automan can't figure out how he doesn't know enough about like the crime to do, his acts. They're going to see through him. They're going to see through Mr. Otto. And he's like, I've already figured out a way to be behind the times a little. I'll be from Australia.
Yeah, that was really silly. But that's when he's wearing that all black suit with the white tie and the fedora. What a dork.
So then what the heck happens here? My note here is I like to see a grown man cry, which I know he says to one of the bad guys, but I don't actually remember the scene.
I don't either.
This is when they kill them. This is when they think they've killed them, but they haven't. Right? Yes, they do a hit on them. They hit them with the car.
They hit them with the car. They merge before Wally gets hit.
So it's okay.
So they both survive.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of that line too and where it fits into the scene because it's really, really funny.
Yeah. I get the feeling Chuck Wagner was very self-aware of this, which is weird given that where his career never went, right? Like I guess like looking like a pretty boy mountain man who had a sense of humor, there was not, we had not hit the 21st century when you could have Chris Hemsworth, right? Like,
yeah.
There just wasn't a thing for it. But so Clue Gulliger and his sidekick are all excited. Or no, it's the next morning, actually, because once they survive it, they're like, we're going to go fuck up every one of his businesses tonight.
Yes. And then there's a montage of them like flying around and
doing
driving
stuff
around. It was so silly.
Yeah. That's different from the earlier montages because that one's actual footage, and the earlier montages, I'm pretty convinced were like, reused from an episode of.
I think they reused a car scene in this episode. They reused one once. I
think I noticed that too. There's no car chase this episode, thank goodness. Okay, so then they go to some bar. Oh, and a hitman confronts them. Yes. And the bar stands out because it's got the world's largest schooner.
Yeah.
So this hitman confronts them, and he's like, how much is he paying you? Cut. So that's basically how they've been taking over the businesses, is Automan has been giving the bad guys more money than Clue gives them, except it's all fake money made by Cursor.
Yes.
So we forgot, I should have noted this. But we'll talk about it during the wedding. Let's put a pin in it. The power grid. Let's talk about power grid logic later. But then we cut to Clue and his sidekick again. It's the girl, because Clue gave her the bad check. And I think it was like for the flowers.
No, for her dress.
Oh, why is he buying her dress?
Why isn't the ex-senator paying for this wedding?
Congressman paying for the wedding. What? They're not paying for their 36-year-old daughter's wedding? Assholes. So that is such a weird and terrible subplot. Okay.
Yeah, so it really is.
Mr. Otto and Wally show up with the hitman bringing them to see Mr. Otto, and now they're just this whole thing. They play it off as they just wanted to make a deal with Rudy.
Yeah.
And so they want to screw Rudy's boss out of the counterfeit, and instead they're going to buy the money. And Rudy's like, okay. And so they leave, and they're going to make the deal on Sunday, which is also the day of the wedding.
Correct.
Okay, so they leave, but then they get pulled over. Oh, what do you got?
When does Jack come into this later? When he gets busted at the...
Oh, yeah, it's part of this sequence.
Okay.
Jack is at the counterfeiting plant, and Lieutenant Jack is actually the damsel in distress of this show.
All the time. Every single time. He gets captured. He gets caught. He's a bad cop.
He's a bad cop. It's an advertisement for mandatory retirement and probably having partners. Because he also has no partner.
He doesn't seemingly have a partner
ever, right? He's a fuck up,
and he's wandering around this place where criminal activity is happening without backup.
Yeah, no, hasn't told anybody where he went. Whatever. It's a dork. Anyway, he's a man. That's how men do it. He doesn't need backup. Because I think we skipped over. He has a scene where he tells the captain what he's going to do, and the captain's like, "That's a great idea, man." Like, pair of fuck ups. Okay.
So anyway, we were talking about the wedding.
Yeah, I was going to make a joke about how they'd be impressed by Glove Guy. What was his fucking name? OJ Glove Guy.
Which one was that?
That shitty fucking cop.
Yeah,
piece of shit. Mark
something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Whatever. Yeah. All right. So they get pulled over by the cops, but it's actually not the cops. It's the big bad guy who, spoiler, Wally lets go. Wally knows there is a kingpin in town who is a discount Jack Warden type. And he's like, okay, I've been watching you guys. And if you can outsmart Rudy, Fucknugget, Brock, you can be my guys. And I will give you an envelope of information about how to convict. Nope, not yet.
No. This is it.
An envelope of information about all of Rudy's illegal activities.
Yes. So I'm going to give you all of this evidence to convict him. I thought it was weird that he did that instead of just being like, just fucking kill him and take his spot. He's a fucking kingpin. He's a mobster.
Nope.
It was so weird. And
dumb.
He recognizes, well, if you don't win, then you die.
Yep. One
if
or the
you
other.
win, you get this envelope full of information. If you don't win, you're dead. So it was so weird. I thought that was weird.
Yeah. Okay.
Like he's a good mobster, right? No, don't kill him. Just give this evidence to the police.
All right. So then it's Sunday. So we skip over Saturday, I guess. All the wedding preparations on Saturday. That would have been a baller scene. They're going to make the deal. The bad guys have Lieutenant Jack. Cursor makes them a car and the money to pay for it. But then when they get there, Clu Gallagher's guys already know they're cops because they trailed Wally home, which would have been a good scene to have. Also, it showcases that Wally doesn't know shit, and he should listen to fucking Automan. Automan didn't get tailed home. Just saying. Somehow they overpower the bad guys. I sort of zoned on that part.
Yeah, it's just sort of one of those, like, Lieutenant Jack takes advantage of somebody being distracted, and then Wally, no, not Wally, Automan takes advantage of the other bad guy being distracted and does this awesome, like, really fake, like kicking the gun out of the guy's hands. It was so silly. And then people fall onto a thing and another guy gets thrown into a wall, and, action scene, essentially.
Yeah.
And then back to the wedding.
Cut back to the wedding where we meet the father-in-law to be, Frank, with my next note after his name is Frank is 6 years older than Clu. So, yep, gotta marry your dad now. But then we cut back to Automan. So we've established there's going to be a wedding. But then we cut back to Automan and the bad guy, who I think is Clu's number one sidekick, who's like, I work for you now.
Meow 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 meow.
So then it's the wedding time.
Oh, God. So my third point is this is the most fucking boring wedding in the world. It's beautiful. The bride looks beautiful for 1983. Nobody seems happy to be there. And it's just like, you know what it is? It's like you put into a computer, this is what a wedding is, and this is what happens. It's just boring. Nobody's talking. Nobody's laughing. They say, even at the beginning, the whoever's officiating the wedding says, on this very solemn occasion. And it's like, yeah, this is pretty solemn. This is the most fucking sad wedding I've ever seen in my life. So I was saying, the Reverend says, oh, on this very solemn occasion. And it is like the most solemn thing I've ever seen. It's so fucking boring. Like,
it's joyless. And then it's because they didn't do any work on these characters. It's because it's absurd and silly and terrible. Like, it's just because it's a bad B plot. It doesn't need to be there. It could have been literally anything. It could have been somebody's birthday. It could have been a fucking city celebration. It could have been just any occasion, and they just chose a wedding. Yeah. Yes. So they're about to do their vows, and the number one sidekick runs up to Clu and is like, we gotta talk business.
Yeah. Literally before he says I do. Like the second before he says I do.
He gets interrupted and he's like, I thought, because there's a helicopter, and like Clu didn't know what was going on with the money or something. Like
he had a sidekick taking care of it.
Right. We clearly needed a Saturday in the plot to tie these things together. But then Clues tells the girl, the fiance, he's going to explain everything, and he loves her, but bye. And he
And he says no when they say, do you take this bride? No, he's like, no. And he runs away. I'll explain it later. Yeah.
That's why I have a big note that says no, not right now.
Yeah.
Forgot. Sorry. Yeah. Dad says, this is insanity. We're getting out of here. And I was like, I don't know that should be your response. It should be, holy shit, why were you marrying a fucking counterfeiter? What the fuck, honey?
Well, they still don't know what's going on. That's why. Because they still don't know what's going on. Even though in like seconds there will be money, like loose bills just flying through the air because the helicopter they're about to take off on blows it all away.
bills.
Yes.
Not real money. Okay, so the helicopter's taken off. Clue is on the arm of the helicopter.
Dangling by his leg for some reason.
Yeah, stuntman's dangling.
Yeah.
And Wally and Automan get there, and Automan's like, "This is going to take all I've got, Wally." And he, just like in episode 2 or 1, where does he discharge? It's in 1.
I think it's 2. I think it was in the last one at the end.
But he calls it a good discharge. Oh, shit. So it's a good discharge, right? Like, but that's all. And then he has to disappear.
Yeah.
But that's also where I realized he's been working during the day. And they haven't mentioned it.
Yep.
And the money has remained in existence overnight through multiple days because none of the other gangsters have been like, hey, all that money fucking magically disappeared on us.
Yeah.
So apparently whoever wrote this episode did not give a shit about the power grid thing. There's some good ending music, which surprised me.
And the last thing I had that I debated not even mentioning was a freeze frame. I knew it was coming. I don't know if it happened in the other episodes, but it was one of those like sitcom endings where it's like, oh, you know, that federal agent that you were working with, he sure did look familiar. I don't know where I'd seen him before. And Desi was like, oh, he looks like Humphrey Bogart. And the guy's like, yeah. And they all start laughing and then freeze frame. And it was so stupid. It was so dumb.
And Roxanne is there and she is now, you know, sworn to secrecy.
Yeah.
So
she recognizes the game that Wally is playing with Automan.
Yeah. So holograms can't solve crimes. I mean, Wally sucked, but you know, I'm getting closer and closer to being ready to see Chuck Wagner's freeze frame. I mean, I am getting frighteningly close to being interested in tracking down Chuck Wagner's sword and sorcery movie that he did in Italy before or after Automan. But no, besides Wally sucking and the show being fairly insipid, you know, it's I'm shocked how good Chuck Wagner is at the Automan, like the earnestness of Automan.
Yeah.
Especially with not enabling Cursor being a sex pest this episode.
Yeah.
Is like, that's not a problem with the show.
Right.
Lots of other stuff is, but like if they had just tried to do Automan, I don't know, like without the cop thing somehow.
Or with a different cop, maybe with Jack. He could be Lieutenant Jack's partner. Jack needs a partner, clearly.
Jack needs somebody to rescue him every episode.
And Automan is the perfect person to do that.
Yes. That is one other thing that I didn't really pay enough attention to, but there is another scene, like there has been, maybe not in the first episode as much, but in the second episode, where Lieutenant Jack is just like surprised to see Wally saving the day. And it's like,
yeah,
he clearly needs to, because you're terrible at this.
Yeah, yeah.
Dirty Harry, you're not. Yeah, this is like basically if Dirty Harry was a fuck up.
Yeah.
Is the Lieutenant Jack story. And then Wally is like, Lucille Ball becomes mayor and her son wants to be a cop. So
yeah, so she gets him on the police force.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All of these are much better ideas for the supporting stories.
Well, next time on the podcast, we'll have episode 4 called Ships in the Night. Walter and Otto fly to San Cristobal. Ooh, maybe, I hope they don't use the jet and they use a helicopter.
Okay.
They're investigating disappearing Americans. Oh, great. A lot of people getting kidnapped in this show. I guess in the 80s that was a thing. Everybody was afraid of getting kidnapped. Okay. Cool. I'm still excited. I don't see any guest stars on this one, but I'm looking at Wikipedia and I don't know as many of the character actors as you do. But it'll be exciting. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I'm still excited.
Glenn A. Larson is still a writer on this one.
Oh, that's not great. Okay.
What's not great? Did you look at the...
No, Glenn A. Larson.
Oh, gotcha.
The writer.
Gotcha. I thought maybe you got a peek at the the guest stars. I don't know who any of these people are, but it should be fun. I'm excited. I'm loving it. Da 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 da. I'm loving it.
We need an Automan sign off, but there isn't really one.
Yeah,
I've used
we don't really
all my
have...
power. It took all my power.
This is going to take everything I've got. Okay. Well, thank you, Andrew, for joining me today.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.